Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 1447, Doubleshot number 1341. We have now come to the final two trades that collect Dan Abnett's run for Aquaman. Yep. First up, Volume 3, Crown of Atlantis. This collects issues, 1624 of Aquaman Volume 8. Fun fact about these issues, these were the last issues of the Aquaman series at this point in time, publishing twice a month, because right after starting with issue 25, it became monthly, and it was like this the rest of the run. Yeah, 24 issues in just 1 year, which is a lot for some people. There's a couple different story arcs going here. Actually, about 3 of them anyways. One, of course, sets up the next saga that we have running up until the events of Sink Atlantis. Alright. Now, first up, we deal with the aftermath of, the immediate aftermath of, stuff related to the stuff with Aquaman and his supposed war between the U.S. and, Atlantis. I should point out that the artwork in here is done by Brad Walker for some of these issues, which he's a very good artist. He is one of the 3 artists along with Felipe Bonas and Scott Eaton. He, of course, starts off first with his artwork here. Now, the first set of issues are basically dealing with this character named Warhead. Yep, and despite the fact Aquaman is dealing with the, aftermath of basically this particular stuff, he's first dealing with his first major threat after the events of what happened with Nemo. He deals with this robot for a few issues. Yep, from 16 to I think it's 18. It's not very long of a saga. No, it isn't. Yeah, apparently this actually is interfering with his telepathy. Yeah, this robot is just here for a few issues and that's it. Yep. And then we have the setup for the very next set of issues, which take up the rest of this. Take up issues 19 through 23, 22 actually. Yes, where basically Aquaman is reunited with one of the Aquamarines. Yes, to deal with something called Dead Water. Now, one of the people who are Dead Water is a guy called Scavenger. If you don't know who this guy is, you probably wouldn't, because he's a minor Aquaman villain. Yeah, this is actually a reintroduction of him. Yeah, he is an old school Aquaman villain. His debut back in the 60s. Yeah, when people think of Aquaman villains, what villains come to mind first? Ocean Master and Black Manta. Though people also think of the Trench as well, because Jeff Johns' run, and of course because they popped up in the Aquaman movie. But in the case of the Scavenger, yeah, he's not a character people think of. But yeah, he is an Aquaman villain. Yep, he's in this really good 4-parter known as H2O. Yeah. It's called H2O, and you have Felipe Bonas doing the artwork. Brad Walker does issues 16, 18. In the case of Felipe Bonas, I think this artist does just this 4-parter, and then the last 2 issues are probably done by Scott Eaton. This is actually a pretty interesting 4-parter. Though the ending of this does help set up the very next arc here. Yep, it does. It seriously does. Yep. But this just deals with a loose end with basically something that relates to the Aquamarines. But the one thing nice about this is that we get reintroduction to a classic Aquaman villain called the Scavenger. Yep. And then pretty much in the final part of the issue, we have Coram Roth. Yes, this guy, who becomes the main villain for the next year of the book. Well, for a little while, actually. Yep. Beginning with issue 23, we begin the start of the very next saga of the book. After dealing with 2 story arcs, 2 really good story arcs, we begin this issue here, 23. We start a saga, we start here, and it does not end until issue 38. This goes on for 16 issues. Excuse me. Yeah, it is pretty much slightly longer than the first major saga in the series, with Nemo. That's Nemo Saga, the first 15 issues. 23 through 38 is the Colin Raft saga. It's simply put this. Okay, after dealing with stuff with the Aquamarines, basically the Dunge, a group of Atlantean terrorists who are freed by the stupid elders of Atlantis. Yep. Why? Because they don't like Aquaman's policies. Yep, that's the reason why. So instead of, I don't know, protesting it, you could basically just chastise him. No, free a terrorist he basically arrested back in the opening issue. Yep, free a terrorist and put him on a damn throne. And yeah, they pretty much do a coup d'etat. Yep, the elders turn against their own king and put a damn terrorist on a damn throne. And this is a saga that basically stretches until issue 38. But yeah, excellent start. Basically, then we have Aquaman the Run, and at the end of issue 24, which is the last issue we produced bi-monthly, we have Mark, who is Aquaman's commander-in-chief of his armies, where he stabs Aquaman and he falls. And everybody proclaims Aquaman dead, and of course Mira and Tallulah, who is Aquaman's half-sister, are basically exiled from Atlantis. This book is fantastic. This book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Volume 4, which is the last thing we'll talk about when it comes to Dan Abnett's time on Aquaman. Let's collect issues 25 to 30. 25, the very first issue of this run to come out monthly. Now, I should point out something about the artist. Stephan Stajic, I think I pronounced this guy's name. This is the guy behind Sunstone. Yes, those series of lesbian bondage, like, graphic novels. There's about 6 or 7 of them, released over the course of several years. This is the same guy behind those series, and he's doing just this one arc. And as far as I know, I think he does come back for issue 38, which is basically the finale for this particular saga. But that's it. Now, the interesting thing about this particular saga, it is the reintroduction to post-Flashpoint to Dolphin. Yes, Dolphin. Who, for some reason, Dan Abnett made a mute for some reason. Now, if you don't know who Dolphin is, I know Linkar brought him up on his Titans retrospective as it relates to character Garth. By the way, Garth does show up in these issues. She is a character debuted back in the 60s. Yeah, she debuted back in Showcase number 79. Yeah, the very same series that Aqualad, Garth, made his debut back in the 60s with. Yep, same series. And, well, yeah, that's where she first showed up. And 25 is her basically reintroduction to post-Flashpoint. Which is interesting to say the least. Oh, yes. Now, I get kind of the reason why, because she's a familiar character. I mean, she was created by J. Scott Pike. The guy himself has since passed away. He passed away about 6 years ago, surprisingly. He was the comic artist. And this guy is credited for creating the original version of Dolphin that they made her debut back in Showcase 79. And I'm looking at the cover right now for her, and, well, the only thing they changed about her, they kept it with the platinum blonde hair. The only change they made to her is they gave her scales. Yes. Because, let's see if I can find a good picture of her. Yeah, and also we have Colin Raft looking for mutates, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, apparently he doesn't like it at all for some reason. I have no idea why, but that's basically what he does. And here's Dolphin. That's her right there. I'm like, okay. Now, appearance-wise, it's not much different from her classic look. I mean, this is the type of clothing she would normally wear. But the biggest change made to her is they made her a mutant. Yeah, given these scales on her arms and legs. Now, in the case of her debut, let me look it up on here. Let me show you the actual picture itself, because it's a quite interesting photo, like, of what the Showcase 79 looks like. Yeah, it came out in December of 1969. 68, actually, yeah. So basically, his character's been on for over 50 years. Let's see if I can get to it here. Here we go. Alright. Now, this is what Dolphin looked like back in the 60s. Based on her outfit here, and her outfit right here, it's not that much different. I mean, it's the same shirt, except it's more torn now, and the fact she's got scales. Yeah, but the thing is, Dolphin is technically not a mute. I'm not sure why in the world they not made her mute for. Though, here's the interesting thing about her. She did not meet Aquaman in a debut issue. Nope. Dolphin didn't meet Aquaman until the very start of Peter David's run for the main ongoing series for Aquaman. Yes, that was the first time they met, and she was a regular supporting character throughout that entire run. And though Peter David did this weird thing where he had Aquaman and Mira get divorced. Yes, he ended the marriage. I'm not really sure why. If I ever get a chance to meet Peter David again, I'm going to ask about that. And Aquaman decided to make Dolphin his lover. Yes, Dolphin was his lover throughout most of the run until Mira returned. And then once Mira returned, the relationship immediately ended. Because Aquaman went back with his beautiful ex-wife, who he later remarried. And in the case of Dolphin, she got Aqualad, the former Aqualad Tempest, where she married him and gave him a baby. Yep. Well, that wasn't until the events Infinite Crisis, where Jeff Johns killed her off. Yep, killed her off. Killed her off, and apparently their child was meant to be killed back in Titans Volume 215. Not really sure why they killed off Dolphin for. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure why, but that's what they did with her. And here she's basically like a close acquaintance of Aquaman. I don't think that she's treated as basically being Aquaman's lover. I mean, they're not having sex. No, they're not doing that at all. She's close with Aquaman. She probably admires him, but not to the point where she's sleeping with him. No. She probably doesn't go that very far. And then, of course, we have King Shark pop up in here. Because, of course, we have to have King Shark pop up in here. Because he's kind of an Aquaman villain. Despite the fact he started out as a Connor Kent villain. Connor Kent, as in the clone of Superman. Yeah, Ron Marth created this guy back in the 90s. And for some reason, you gotta basically blame this on Kurt Busiek. Of all people. Yes, Kurt Busiek did this. Where apparently King Shark is associated with Aquaman now for some reason. Not really sure why, but my only guess is because DC probably didn't have anything else for the guy to do. So let's have King Shark associated with, of all people, frickin' Aquaman. Yeah, not really sure why, but that's basically where he is. His real name is Nanoon. Yeah, he made his first appearance back in Superboy Volume 4, Number 0. Well, if you recall Kitzler, but I think a lot of the time Ron March basically was one writing him. Yeah, a lot of the time was Ron March writing him, and he appeared in a lot of issues for Superboy. Like, I would say a small chunk of the guy's run. Yeah, I would say a small chunk of the guy's run. Yeah, he also appeared in small chunk of issues for Secret Six. For some reason, they had part of the group. Yeah, they had him, well, basically appear as like a background character in the book. Yeah. So Kurt Busiek is kind of responsible for adding him to basically, he became a regular supporting character in Kurt Busiek's run. Even the writer who succeeded him kept him on the book. Though technically the first time he appeared in Aquaman was in Aquaman Volume 637 is Infinite Crisis tie-in. Yeah, that was the first time he technically appeared in the book. But yeah, he was pretty much just sporadically appearing. Now in the case of the current version of the character, the one who's appearing in the first pages of Suicide Squad of all places, yes. Well, you gotta think Adam Glass basically for this, and he's featured in a handful of issues of the previous volume for the series, but this volume, starting issue 30, He appeared on a regular basis until issue 38 and appeared in issue 40, and that's it. Yep, he didn't do very much after that, but yeah, he became briefly a supporting character in this book. Yep, that's basically what the guy did. Where he appeared as an ally of Aquaman, not necessarily a villain. Yeah, but you can kind of partially gotta thank Kurt Busiek for making him part of the Aquaman mythos for some reason, despite the fact he, well, can't do very much at all. It's something though for a character like King Shark, where he has not appeared in a live series over the years, and yet for some reason he's associated with Aquaman. For some reason, I don't know why. Aquaman or probably even Suicide Squad. That's generally how King Shark is perceived, anyways. Yeah, but for the first major story to come after issues 23 and 24, for the next technically part of this major saga, this is really good. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good. Final thoughts on Dan Abnett's run for Aquaman. I did a little research prior to basically doing this video. Here's something that Dan Abnett has in common with Peter David, the guy he succeeded briefly in the title back in the 1990s. Yeah, he did briefly succeed him. At issue 47 to 47, 49, he did issue 1 million, and that's it. Because with issue 50, it was Eric Larson who took over the book. Yes, Eric Larson, the guy who created Savage Dragon and Carnage, worked on Aquaman. Excuse me. The big thing these two have in common is that for the main series, Aquaman, ongoing series for Aquaman, is that these two produced the same amount of issues, 46 in a row. No skipping, 46 in a row. He came on in 2016 to the book and left in 2018. So, for like about 2 years with the book. But he put out 46 issues in just 2 years. Yeah, he basically... Fun little factor when it comes to Dan Abnett and it comes to the Aquaman title for Rebirth. He was one of 2 writers to actually keep their books they were working on prior to Rebirth with Rebirth. The other one being Ben Percy for Green Arrow. Though he took the book in a completely different direction. This run picked up right where he left off for his previous volume. It's almost like though DC probably trusted him with this book, so they kept him on the book for a pretty good period of time. But 30, I think he was pretty much done with the book, but he just had to do the 2 crossovers. First with Suicide Squad, and then with Justice League for Drowned Earth. My only guess is the reason why he did that one, because Scott Snyder probably really wanted to do a crossover with Aquaman. Because, here's the thing. Jeff Johns kind of started this thing where, oh, we got to do a crossover with Aquaman because he's part of the Actor Justice League. Because Dawn of Atlantis, okay? Yeah, so some people probably were expecting that to happen again with Rebirth. Nope, never happened. Yeah, that's something I thought was kind of dumb for Brian Hitch to do. He did not take advantage of doing a crossover with Aquaman. Especially Dawn of Atlantis was really good. And it took 5 years after the awesomeness that was Dawn of Atlantis to come out, do another crossover with Justice League. This time being Drowned Earth. That was mostly a little bit tying to also what was going on in the pages of Justice League at that point. But it was still technically an Aquaman Justice League crossover. Yep, we got to praise him for that. But in the case of this run overall, it is really good. Damn good run. Oh yeah, and here's something though. Throughout this entire run, he only put out 1 annual. Yep, 1 annual throughout this entire run. Yeah, there were a few like one-shots basically published alongside of this. Yeah, it's related to Drowned Earth, and of course Rebirth and the Jeffersons, which I have not covered yet. The second annual, he had nothing to do with it at all. That was a different writer. That was Kelly Suhanik who did that. That'd probably be in one of the other books per se when it comes to Aquaman. Yes. For some reason, I'm not really sure why this is. Where apparently the book was ended last year after only putting out 65 issues. Not really sure why. Yeah, it's not really explained exactly why in the world it's like that, but that's just basically where it is. Yeah, but I will eventually cover those final 3 trades when it comes to the Killer Supersonics run for Aquaman soon, when I get a chance to my hands on them. But yeah, as in the case of Dan Abnett's regular run for Aquaman, it's done. Closed. And now I have 3 trades left for that run, and I just Killer Supersonic. Which is kind of strange, though, because it seems like Killer Supersonic seems like the only woman to ever write Aquaman. Yeah, it's kind of weird, to say the least. But this run with this saga with the Tyrant King, this is a really good story arc. A great follow up for a second major saga that Dan Abnett worked on when it comes to Aquaman. In the case the 2 Starks came between that, the one with Warhead was okay. Dead Water was quite interesting because the follow up it brought back the Aquamarines, which were introduced in the previous saga. So it's great the fact we have a brief start with them, and then we have this, which I'm glad the fact they actually waited to do this. Which, yeah, at least they waited a good 9 issues after the end of. Actually, it was a good 8 issues after the last saga wrapped up that we had this one. So at least we had a couple of mini story arcs published between them, which was great. And of course, also there's an issue of Justice League that actually ties into this particular arc, where you have Mira join the Justice League. Yep, she joined Justice League. And as far as I know, she's still technically a member of the Justice League. And I will be discussing her time in the book itself. There's technically, even though this miniseries is loosely associated with this book, Mira Queen of Atlantis, I will cover that one eventually. Yes, I will, because, well, that'd be one thing I'll talk about for Dan Abnett's run per se, but for the main book, it's done. Yep. So yeah, that's a particular view. I have maybe one more comic corner to do today, and of course your Shaman King, and that'll be pretty much it for video today. Okay, see you next video. Bye.